You've heard of Build-A-Bear, right? But have you heard of Build a System? Today, my friends, we're going to tackle the learning curve of Airtable head on. And I have seen Airtable and other softwares too, to be fair. I've seen it be almost as difficult as learning a language, but I promise you that if you put in the reps, and that's the key, putting in the reps, it'll become second nature and it'll be worth its weight in gold learning Airtable and the types of things that you can do with it. Just so powerful for your business, and we'll dive into that a little bit today. Now, as for our video today, forget about learning through theory. We're actually going to be rolling up our sleeves, building a task management system right here. And it's not going to just be a very simple one. Like, it's actually going to have some advanced functionality and features to it, like automations that you'll be able to see. And I'll guide you through how to make them. Now, this video is going to require you to take action. Okay, it's going to be a pretty fun video. I've actually been really excited to record this. So if taking action is not for you, then this video is definitely not for you, and you're probably not going to make it, to be honest. Now, for the rules of engagement, if you're still here with me and you are for taking action today, there's a couple of different ways for you to engage with this video, each with varying levels of difficulty. The first way is going to be the easy way. I'll call that rookie. Build your system right alongside me, pausing the video as you go, right? Watch me create it. Okay, pause it. Now I'm going to go and create it. And then, watch a little more, pause it, create it. Actually, that's how I learned Airtable. So don't feel bad about going the rookie way. Now, the hard way, we're going to call that All-Madden, right? Referring to Madden, of course, if you play that game. I loved that game growing up. I love the X's and O's of it. I just love playing franchise. I never actually played the game, but anyway, that's not the purpose of this video. Now, All-Madden is you're going to watch passively, and then after watching the video, you're going to try and recreate the entire system from memory afterwards and add your own unique flair. In fact, even if you're going the rookie way, you'll still be able to add your own unique flair as well. Now, before I share screen, let's go into why traditional task management falls short sometimes. Number one, first and foremost, is that it doesn't always integrate with the rest of your operating system. If you're using Todoist or something like that, it's not going to integrate with the rest of your business's operating system. You're not going to have your project management system and your learning management system and your CRM on Todoist, right? Same with a lot of other platforms, especially if you're doing pen and paper or the Notes app in your phone. It doesn't integrate, it doesn't connect with the rest of the brain of your business, the operating system for your business. With Airtable, you can have all of that, the key things, right? We call that Team Hub, Learning Management System, Project Management System, and a CRM. Those are the 4 core systems that you're going to need for your business. That could be a separate video, though. You can do all of that on Airtable. So your task management system, which I'd put in Team Hub, you can connect that. It can integrate with the rest of your operating system. Number 2, on a lot of these other platforms, I'm going to pick on Todoist again, you're going to have limitations. You're not going to be able to do everything that you want. Airtable's big thing is that you can basically create anything on there. There's really not a whole lot of limitations. Of course, there are some, but Airtable is infinitely customizable. If you can think it, you can create it on Airtable. The third and final, I could probably do a lot more of these, but the third reason that most task management systems fall short is, they all have a to-do list, great, but they don't have a things I've delegated list, right? And so the things that we delegate, they often get forgotten. They fall through the cracks because, again, you have a to-do list, but you don't have a things that you've delegated list. We're actually going to be able to do that in Airtable. I'm going to show you how to create that so that literally you'll seem superhuman. Now, without further ado, my friends, we are going to dive into Airtable. I'm going to screen share, and we're just going to build this thing. Let's have some fun. So I'm going to put my handy-dandy glasses on right here because this is going to be some serious work. Again, rookies, this is the time to start building along the way. Pause as needed, and we'll just take it from here. So the first thing that you are going to do is create a base. Of course, you'll have to have an Airtable account, which I would recommend getting the Pro plan. I will include a link to sign up for Airtable in the description of this video, and that'll basically be like your tip for this video because that'll give me $10. And I'm trying to get over $1,000 in Airtable credits, $10 at a time, and I think I'm at like 800 right now, so help me get there. Thanks. There's going to be a couple of build phases here. Number 1, we're going to tackle tables. Number two, we're going to tackle fields, and then we're going to do views, and then we're going to do automations. And then we can build an interface on top of this, but I think we're going to save it for another video because that's just a lot more work. So the first thing that we're going to do is set up our tables. Of course, we have got some stuff already here, and I'm going to just delete some of these. And I'm going to delete the records here too. I don't like those. And I'm going to call this just tasks. In fact, in our business, we call this the task master. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to keep it simple, tasks. And then I'm going to create another table, create a blank table, and I'm going to call that team. Okay, and we're going to put our team members in there. I'm going to delete a lot of all these tables. I'm sorry, fields. Now, let's start with the team table here. Let's set up the fields for that because we've taken care of the tables for now. Maybe we'll add a couple more tables later, but I like where this is at. Name, yep, the person's name. And then we'll do title, and that can just be a single line text field. That's fine for now. And then we can do department. Maybe we want to do multiple select. We can have like operations, or I'll call that fulfillment, admin, HR, probably not relevant, executive, sales, etc. You can customize the colors here, whatever, but I don't really care about that right now. And then we are going to do reports to. That's going to be a linked record field. And reports to is just to show who does this team member report to, right? Who's their manager? Who's their coach? I like to call them coaches. And then we will do email. You're going to see how this is really important later. This is actually going to connect a couple of automations, a lot of time-saving automations for us. So you need this email field. And then we're also going to do Slack ID. Okay, that's an important one. Again, it's going to help us connect some time-saving automations later. Now, let's add in, I'll just add myself in here. I don't report to anyone because there is no one else to report to anyway. I'm going to be the only person on the team for now. And then let's go into Slack. I'll show you how to get Slack ID here. Okay, so look what I'm going to do up here. I'll just go to my profile, or you'll click on someone else's profile, whatever. And then what you'll do is just hit these three dots right here and then copy member ID. That's what I mean by Slack ID. And then we're back into Airtable, and I'll just paste the Slack ID right here, and I'll also do my email right here. Maybe I'll add a little photo field as well. Okay, so I have my picture in here. Make these a little bit bigger. Just for good measure, I'll add somebody else in here. There's Neil. All right, great. So we have our team table. Now we're going to go to tasks, and we're going to need a number of fields here. So we're going to insert one to the left, and I'll make it a linked record field. It's going to link to the team table, and we're going to call this task owner. And then we are going to insert another field to the right and call it task manager. Same thing, linking to the team field. You can also call this, who assigned this task or whatever. Great. And then we have a notes field. I definitely want that. And then I want to have a due date field. Due. We'll have a status field as well. I want to just change maybe some of the options here. I like to do not started, in progress, and then blocked, ready for review, and then we'll do completed. And we'll make these colors nice here. In progress, I think of as yellow. Blocked will be bright red. Ready for review. And then completed will be green. Okay. Great. Maybe we want to add an attachment field here as well. You know, when you're assigning a task to someone, maybe there's a file or photo or something like that. Okay. I think I want to reorder these two. Let's see. Do notes. And then next to the due date, I'll put a created time field so that we know when this task was created, of course. Okay. I'm going to just put the created thing at the end, all the way at the end here. Now, there's a couple more fields here that we need for the express purpose of connecting these automations that are going to be pretty cool later. And they're simple automations, but they save a lot of time and create a lot of efficiencies. The first one I'll share with you, it's going to be, you know, as soon as someone is assigned a new task in Taskmaster right here, then they're going to get a notification in Slack saying, hey, you've got a new task, and it's going to link to it in Airtable. They can click on the link, they'll be taken to the task. And then the other one that we'll create is an overdue task notification. So as soon as the task becomes overdue, the owner and manager will be notified, say, hey, you know, what's the status here? Or the manager will be, you know, they'll get a message, one message saying, hey, you know, this task is overdue, expect task owner to send you a message in the next 24 hours or the next whatever. And if not, give them tough love. And then the task owner will obviously get a different message like, hey, you know, update manager with a status. You know, what's the status of this task here? So to connect those automations, we're going to need a lookup field, okay, that looks up, we don't have to even name it, looks up the email of the task owner from the team table. And then, yep, we'll just do email, and then we'll hit create field, and then we'll do it again. I'm actually just going to duplicate this one. And then we'll just change it to task manager. Lovely. And then we're going to do the same thing for the Slack ID. Task owner, and then we'll look up ID. And then we will do the same sort of lookup field for the task manager. Wonderful. So let's just verify that those lookup fields are working. I'll add myself as the task owner. I'll also add myself as the task manager. And we can see that, yes, those ID and those lookup fields are working. So now I'm just going to hide them. We don't really need them. That's for like back-end stuff. You don't want your team or even you to see that. That's distracting. Then we'll call the status of this not started. Maybe it's due tomorrow. That's good for now. And then in the notes field, I would make sure you make this a rich text formatting long text field. That way you'll be able to include hyperlinks. Because a lot of times when I'm assigning a task out to someone, all I'm doing is just putting in the notes field a Loom video. Forgot to, I definitely want to name our base. Cool. All right, and now we need a couple more fields to make these automations really connect. And that is, but you don't really have to do this. It's just you're going to be missing a little piece that I like to add. I would definitely recommend adding this, but let's do it. It's going to be a formula field. And it's going to seem a little bit wonky. I'm going to call this task owner at. And we are going to connect it to the Slack ID from task owner field. We don't need that. Okay. I think that's good. I'm going to copy this. Good. And then we're just going to do the same thing. I actually didn't even need to copy it. I call it task manager at. And then we're just going to change that field. Don't forget to delete that. I don't know why it's doing that. It's weird behavior. Okay. Basically what that's going to do is enable, in our automations, it's going to enable us to mention the task owner and task manager in the Slack message that goes out. Just helpful. Of course, we could substitute that if you don't feel like doing that. Task owner at, task manager at, you can just substitute it with the task owner name. Of course, it won't be linked. It won't be their at mention in Slack. And of course, I will hide these fields. And then I want to do a couple of things here with views. Okay, because we have we got our tables, we've got our basic fields, we've got that. Now I want to play with views a little bit here. So I'm going to create a couple of sections, main, and then I'll call another one team member views. And that should be good. I'm going to drag this up to main, call it all grouped by task owner, or rather open tasks grouped by task owner. Because look how we're going to set up this view. We're going to group it by task owner, of course. So that way, if Neo Anderson has a task, it'll show up obviously in a different grouping, different section. You can sort it by created time is most recent. So the most recent task will rise to the top. You can also create a different field here called priority. And what I like to do for that is low, medium, high, and then P0, which basically means priority 0, due right now. So those are the 4 priority levels, and you can also sort by that. And then I'm going to filter. This is why I call it open tasks, keyword open, not closed. Add the condition for this filter here and make it status is not completed. Okay, so anything that's marked as completed is not going to show up here. This is what I like to call a focused view of only open tasks. Because eventually you're going to have 100 tasks for each team member that are marked as completed, and it's just going to be clogging up the view, and you don't want that. Now we're going to duplicate this and call it all, and then we'll get rid of that filtering. Okay, so you have open and all. And then what I'm going to do is just duplicate that again, drag it down to team member views. Oops. We'll put it, all right. Yep, we'll put it in that section. And we're going to call this Jordan's view, or JP's view. And we're going to filter it by status is not completed and task owner has any of Jordan pairs. So my tasks, and only my tasks, will show up right here. Now, we'll do another view right here. Call it Neo Anderson's view. And we will, of course, change the filter. Great. And then, if you don't, look, you're going to get a bunch of tasks in here. And honestly, this is not the way that I recommend doing it. You can have this grid view. That's great. But let me see if I can move my face here. Yeah, we're going to do a Kanban view. Okay. And then we're going to do status, right? Okay. And then we will call this JP's view. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that other one use a Kanban here. JP's view. And then, of course, we'll filter it by task owner. Has any of me? And then we will do the same. I guess we're backtracking a little bit. Oh. Okay, good. That's uncategorized because we didn't put a status on it. We'll call it in progress. And I could have just easily dragged it too. That's the beauty of the Kanban here. We should probably name this. Great. Colstonal. Okay. Then I'm going to duplicate this one once more. We're actually going to use it this time. Because remember, I was talking about we don't always have a things that we've delegated list. We only have to-do lists for the most part. So we forget about the things that we've delegated naturally. So we're going to call this JP's or team member, insert team member's name here, management view. Okay. And we're going to filter it by task manager has any of Jordan Paris. So anything where I'm assigned as the task manager will show up right here. So I'll never forget about the things that I've delegated. I'll just be right here. And then, of course, we will do that for Neo and just change the filtering. That's all. Great. Now, we can do some other things here as well. Like we can add timelines. We can add gallery. I wouldn't really recommend that for a task management system. But a timeline or a calendar view, that can be pretty cool. I don't really use it though. We do created. Sometimes, don't even worry about it. You could just do it simple, right? I was trying to do it a more advanced way. We could just use the due date field. And then we can color it by status here. So this one doesn't have a date on it, but we could easily put a date on it. So there you have it. Your tasks will show up right here on a calendar view. Can be helpful. Might be helpful to you, might not be. I want to do a couple more things with these cards here, or rather with these Kanban views. You can customize the cards. Maybe we want maybe we want the due date to also be shown right on the card. And then when we open it up, of course, it'll have everything else. And then it can also be helpful to have another view. I'll just duplicate this. Maybe I'll move it just down here because it's not really a main view, but it can also be helpful to say like recently finished. And then filter by status is not completed, or status is completed. How would we do that? Yeah, okay, so we need to add another field here. And we'll call that last modified. And then specific fields, so the last time the status field was modified. Again, we'll want to hide this one. It's not really a core field that we need everyone to see. We're just going to use it for the filter here. So status is last modified within the past 7 days. So anything that's been finished in the past 7 days will show up right here. And it's helpful, especially if you have your team members filling out end-of-day scorecards on a daily basis at the end of each day. There's a question that's like, what did you do today, basically? And it's like sometimes it's hard to remember. And a view like this, recently finished within the past 7 days, they can just go right into here and literally see like a lot of the stuff that they did and marked off as completed. And they'll be able to write that in their end-of-day scorecard, which I should probably create another video about. Going back to our build here, we've got we've got a lot of progress here. So we've basically done the tables, the fields, the views, and now we just got to do the automations, really. So I want to populate this with a few more tasks. You could also group this by status, or subgroup it by status rather. I think it gets a little bit busy at that rate, but I don't know. Depending on how many tasks you're going to have in here, it might be helpful. But again, I'd recommend, like, if you're Jordan or if you're Neo, like if you're Neo, you're going to operate out of here. If you're Jordan, you're going to operate out of here. Like most times, you're probably not going to be operating out of here, so it doesn't really matter. I just recommend that you use your own personal views. Okay, so we're going to go into automations. And remember, the two that we're going to create here today are the new task notification as well as the overdue task notification. So we're going to add a trigger here, and the trigger is going to be, you know what, I want to do one more thing. One more thing before we get there. I want to add a form. New task form. And I want to put this second from the top. Okay, maybe you'd add your logo here. Okay, so you can see that I've added some prettiness to this form. I will specify here what's the name of the task, right? Make that a required field. Task owner, obviously that should be required. Manager, no, not required. Status, limit to a few options. Completed probably shouldn't be an option. I'll just leave it though. You can eliminate options here for people to choose from that won't necessarily get rid of it. Like, it's just from what they can choose from on the form, right? It doesn't get rid of it in the actual field. You know, if I wanted to get rid of it in the actual field, I would just delete it right here. Likely not started. Likely. Notes, I'm not going to make that required. Due, be a little more clear here. Due date. I'm not going to make that required either, to be honest. Then we want to remove the Airtable branding if you have the Plus or Pro plan. And then maybe we'll do show submit another response button. So as soon as they submit, they'll be able to submit another one real easily instead of, like, you know, just taking an extra 10 seconds to open the form back up again. Little efficiencies there. Okay, so we have this. Great. Now we're going to go to automations. Finally. Now we're going to add the trigger when a form is submitted. We're going to select the task table. This is our new task notification automation, by the way. Then we're going to do new task form. Okay. And we'll do that one. That's our test record. And then we will do Slack. Send message. You'll connect your Slack account here, of course. And then we will do, for the channel/user, you're going to hit this gear icon right here, hit dynamic plus. And then you will do, what is it? Yes. We're going to use the Slack email from the task owner. Remember those? And then you'll do the value. That is how, my friends, that's how you send an automated direct message to someone from Airtable to Slack. You put their email in the channel/user field. Their Slack email, that is. Of course, it has to, the email that you put in the directory, in the team table that we were constructing earlier, that email has to be the same as the user's email in Slack. So, all right, now we are going to compose our message. We'll do the @ task owner @ and we're going to do that emoji, the wave. A new task has been assigned to you in Task Master. And then we'll do the name of that new task. Task. And then I'll put it in italics. But then also I'm going to make it a link here. You know, if you don't know how to do this, this can get a little wonky here. But you can learn about how to bold something, how to use italics, how to hyperlink something by clicking this right here. You can also see it here. So like the general format is this, and then the actual link, and then this, and then your text that you want to be hyperlinked, and then this closed bracket. So I will do the link. It's going to be the base record URL, which is basically fancy for the task URL. And then the name, and then we will close it. Name, bot icon, I will leave that blank. And then I'll name this new task notification. Great. And then let's turn it on. And then let's run it. Run as configured. Okay, so it's not actually going to show up like that at U04DL. It's not. I'm going to go into Slack. All right, how pretty. It's this one right here. At JP, a new task has been assigned to you in Taskmaster. View this task. And then I click the link. Where does it go? It opens up the task. And I can see task owner, task manager, the status, the Loom video in the notes. Like a briefing, right? Usually that's what I do in the Loom video. And then the due date. Pretty cool. You can use comments as well. You can comment back and forth with your team. Awesome. So it works. Now we are going to create the next automation, which is a little bit different, but I'll just duplicate that. It's going to be overdue task notification. So we are going to do this, keep this message right here, and then we'll just add another action. We're not going to keep this message verbatim, but we're going to just keep this action here, I should have said. So we'll do task owner at. Yeah, let's do this. New task has just become overdue. Please message at the task manager with a status update in the next, I think 24 hours is a little too long, in the next 3 hours. All right, and then we're going to add advanced logic, conditional logic, and then, oh, well, look, it's not going to be perfect here today. Scratch that. We are going to go for perfection. So we're going to create 2 conditions here. If task manager is empty, and then we'll add another condition where if the task manager is not empty. So if there's, like what I'm doing here is, if there is no task manager specified, which there isn't always going to be, then it doesn't make sense to send a message saying, hey, update, it's going to just be a blank at, and it doesn't make sense. So this one is for if there is a task manager, so we'll drag that here. And then I'll duplicate this and just drag it up here and change the message for, let's say that the task doesn't have a task manager. It's empty, that field. So you would change the message. Get your stuff together, we'll say. Then we'll just duplicate this message here. because this, now we're going to construct the message that goes to the task manager. So we're going to change the recipient here to task manager value. And then we'll change the at here as well to the task manager's at. Oh, no, not right there. Silly. At task manager. And then we'll do assigned to name. No, not the task name. What I want to do here is owner name, and then in parentheses I'll do their at. It's just become overdue. Please message we gotta change that. Expect to give you a status update within the next 3 hours. If you don't receive an update, you'll need to give them some tough love. All right. Now we'll turn this on, and I want to make sure that, so for Neo, we'll assign me as the task manager. Then we'll go to automations. We'll choose a record. It's going to be MPC2. And then we are going to test the automation. MPC2. Run. And let's see what happens. Okay, so obviously it didn't fire the if task manager is empty actions. It fired the if task manager name is not empty because it wasn't empty. So I'll go over into Slack right here. And voila, I got a lovely message here. It said at JP, MPC2, task assigned to Neo Anderson. I know why. Okay, I was like, oh man, we need to fix some things. It is because there is no Slack ID specified for Neo Anderson in the team table. Let's take a look at that. Team, Neo Anderson, no Slack ID. So he also didn't get this message here that says the task has just become overdue, message your manager in the next couple hours, because he doesn't have a Slack email specified either. But this is perfect. We've set up our core automations here, the new task notification as well as the overdue task notification. So now that we've built our task management system, let's go through a little bit of the SOP, the best practices on upkeeping this system, of using it, the daily operation of it on a daily basis, for onboarding new team members as well. What happens there when you add some new team members? Well, let's start there. I'm going to show you that. Of course, you're going to add them to your team table. New team member. Great. And you'll just fill in the core items here, which are email and Slack ID. Okay, so I'll pretend that I did that. And then we'll go into tasks, that table, and then we'll just duplicate the views. So I'll just duplicate Neo's view right here and call it new team members view, because we want to make sure that new team member has her own personal views to manage her tasks. This is like you're setting up her workspace or her own to-do list for her. So new team member, anything where she is assigned as the task owner will show up here. And maybe she's not she's probably not a manager at this point. You're just bringing her on. Maybe she doesn't need a management view. She doesn't need a things I've delegated view. So, especially if she's at the bottom of the totem pole. But if she's not at the bottom of the totem pole, then maybe you want to duplicate the management view as well. And then we'll just change the filtering again. So there you have it. Anything where new team member is assigned as the task manager will show up right here. And then, of course, the daily operation of it for you, if you're JP or let's say you're Neo, you're just dragging things across here. That's really it. And then if you want to add a new task, you're just submitting it via this new task form right here. You'll open up the form and you will submit the task, fill in all the stuff. Not started. Maybe I'll put the Loom video in here. The due date will be the 5th, and then we will hit submit right here. Bam. Now, I forgot one critical thing. You may have caught it. You may have caught it. I forgot to set the condition for this overdue task notification. I forgot to set the trigger. The trigger is not when a form is submitted. The trigger needs to be completely different. And that is when record matches conditions. There's a couple of different ways you can do it, but I'm going to do it this way. Tasks, and then the condition is going to be due is after. Can I do today? Yes. So when it becomes overdue, then a message will go out. Now you can also set up notifications. This will maybe get your gears turning where, if the due date is tomorrow, or the due date is today, or the due date is 3 days from now, you can set up specific notifications just for that. Might be a little bit overkill though. This is good for now. Now I'm going to hit update to make sure that change gets published. So now this notification is good to go. So look, now that you have the basics of your task management system, I'm going to encourage you to add your own unique flair here. Make it yours. So there you have it, my friends. You've built your task management system, whether you've been building it alongside of me or plan to build at the conclusion of this video in just a couple of seconds. The important part is that you've made the first step forward towards a more organized and efficient workflow. Now, I want to see what you guys have been creating. Drop a comment in this video below with a share link of your unique Airtable task management system. And the way that you'll do that is hit share right up here, and then you'll just share publicly. Turn it on. Here's the link right here, and comment it on this video. I'd love to see it and see what unique flair you've added to it. And if you found value in this Build a System workshop, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel here for more hands-on actionable content pertaining to operations and Airtable. And lastly, if you are a growing agency and want to be able to identify A players and pick out B and C players and eliminate them from your hiring process, if you want to boil your hiring process down to a foolproof and repeatable science, then I highly recommend signing up for free for the hiring process. I will send it direct to your inbox, along with a 45-minute video of me going through the 2,000 word document on the hiring process that we use here at Zeus. So I will link that in the description. It's going to be zeusos.co/hiring. That is ZEUSOS.co/hiring. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.